All right, here we go. OverDrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, and up on TSN 4. Bryan Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan. We made it. Post-Thanksgiving, we're all here. I think we're all feeling pretty good. We got hockey in like an hour and a half for some reason.
But you guys, do you feel like pigs?
Yes.
Like, I don't
feel
know
disgusting.
what type of feedback. You know what it is? It's like, Christmas time, Thanksgiving. Yeah, I'll have some sugar. I'll have a cookie at 10:30 in the morning. I'll have, a little piece of pie, and then you're just grazing the whole day. And then by the nighttime, you just feel like a pig.
Yeah. And then what I find is I've gone so far gone, I'm like, screw it.
You just
like
keep
I'm
going.
watching the Packer game last night.
Yeah.
Bag of chips.
Dude.
Yeah,
you gotta
why
do what
not?
I do. It's all wrapped up in 2 hours flat.
Really?
Come over, some nice conversation. My wife's family was over. This is down to a science. They brought the turkey because my wife's cousin is just a great guy, and he's like, I know you guys don't want to do that. I'll bring the turkey. So he brings it over, ready to serve, plops it on the counter. We eat, a little cup of coffee. Goodbye. Everyone is on their way home. Dude, I swear to God, it's the best plan because I pulled aside the other cousin's sister, and I said, let's keep this tight, right? Nobody needs to. She's like, we feel the same way. And I said, perfect. And it was buttoned up, everyone on their way in 2 hours. And we all had a fabulous time.
Oh, I'm sure you did. 2 hours. I'm sure you really had some deep
2
conversations.
hours.
Dude, it was catching up. There's a small baby in the situation. We all got to do the little picture like Chris Farley. Hey, little guy. And everyone was out the door. It was amazing.
Yeah,
Nobody wants it more than that.
Well, it depends on what you're marrying into, because I had a similar experience. I grew up in a household much like your household, though. Show up, it's quick, you're out of there. All right, we got to fly, and everyone loves each other, and everyone's happy. So on Sunday, my family came to my house. My wife was like, come at any point around 2 to 3. My sisters start rolling in 3:45. My parents roll in. Around 6:30, they're like, all right, we'll see you. And I'm like, that's how I grew up.
Yeah,
I'm great with that.
That's all anyone wants.
But
let
it's
me guess,
not. It's not.
Your wife's family wants a 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. stop.
I married into a stretch-it-out family. We were the last ones to arrive at my sister-in-law's.
Yeah.
Heads were exploding. How could we possibly be the last ones? We got there at 2. She said any time between 1 and 2.
Yeah.
We pulled up at 2. We left at 8 o'clock.
6
And
hours.
it was
See,
a
our
6
family
hour
translation of any time between 1 and 2 means we're eating at 4, so let's show up at 3:45 and we're out by 5:30.
That's right. That's exactly how I grew up, and that's exactly what I experienced. And everyone had a great time.
Yeah.
And everyone on the way out, love you, amazing. We'll see you at Christmas. Text afterwards. That was amazing. What a great time. And 100% genuine. That's how I was raised.
Dude,
That's
my
how I
whole
grew
life-
up. My wife grew up in a different world. She grew up
Before
in a very
my
different
dad
world.
was done the pumpkin pie, he'd look at his watch and say, I bet you that 400's a mess right now. And we would be jumping in the truck as little kids.
Yeah.
Take it to go. Take the pie in the truck.
That's right.
Yeah,
But
there
it's-
was always something. I'm just not feeling that good. I got a headache.
Yeah.
The 400's going to be a mess.
There's always
Anything.
something. I'm with
Bad
you,
weather,
man.
who knows what. If it'd be October 10th, and it'd be like, who knows what the weather's going to do.
Yeah, it might
And
start
we'd be
snowing
all in-
later. It's getting a little ugly out there.
Gone.
There's no middle ground, though.
No.
It's either short and sweet, like almost ridiculous, which kind of sounds like what you experienced and to an extent what I experienced, or so over the top that it's like, this is kind of crazy.
other
We're here for
spectrum.
like 8 hours.
Steph's family is like, it's a full
It's
day.
a long
Full
get-together.
day
No
and
way.
all
I
that.
think we actually agreed. Anything in the future, let's meet and have a nice little quiet lunch. Seriously, let's meet and have a lunch.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's like a Subway sandwich type of lunch, but it's just no cleanup, no nothing.
There's no
If
middle
you want
ground,
a
man.
No,
There's no middle
turkey
ground, but
sandwich
you have
and
to
out
have the
you go.
agreement. You got to have the agreement
Come to the
beforehand.
agreement. That's what it is. Once the agreement is in place, then everyone's on the same page, because the minute it's not, people's noses get out of joint. And then you're like, okay, well, we thought this, we thought that. But if it's like, show up at 2, you're out the door by 5, you've been fed and watered, everything's good, and everyone's on the same page.
Usually it's the host that has to set that tone, right? Because if the host feels like they got shortchanged, put a lot of time and effort in, and then people left a little bit quick, or conversely, hey, this is getting ridiculous. Like, why are people still here? And you can never really get a read on that. The host is always going to be the tone setter.
Yeah.
But I made a horrible decision on Sunday. I weighed in before we started eating.
Oh, no.
And I was already in a bad place. Like,
What'd you put on?
I'm putting on a few. Like, in the winter, I just know what's coming. When I stop golfing, it's almost like a golf depression.
Dude, you take
start
a cart.
Yeah, but I'm active, and I'm not eating when I'm at the course. Like, more than anything, I don't eat on the golf course. You bring sandwiches, and like you have a packed lunch.
Captain Caveman over there.
Yeah.
He opens up his coat and he's got a Subway sandwich.
He does. You bring like a cooler with you with all types of different food items. I don't do that.
Why
So
weigh in before Thanksgiving?
I was curious
punishment.
where I was starting.
Just give us the heater. What's the damage? Did you put
It's
on
not
15
crazy.
pounds
No,
in a
not
day?
crazy. But I'm like 6 or 7 over where I probably should be.
All right, that's not.
And I feel like now I need to be in a position where I start to get it under control. But like hockey's starting tonight, the football season, NFL's rocking.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. You got baseball playoffs.
Yeah,
And the weather's starting to turn. So I'm not going to be outside that much.
I've told you my story. Anytime we had a day off and we had to weigh in, like I was.
That's
like,
when you
I was
were
worried.
playing hockey, you mean? Like
Exactly.
during
When I
your
was
pro
playing,
career?
like you have to weigh in after a day off or after Thanksgiving. I'd be staring at that trainer. Don't you even look at me. Like you write down.
That's
the
when
number
you start
I
paying
want.
off.
You
who
write
gotta
down the
pay off.
number I need to see on that chart. or
That's
else-
right. All right.
else
Well,
you can't have that.
we got a guy on the line. What are the chances? Do you think he let himself go at all this
No,
weekend?
he's in great shape. These guys are all in great shape. Like
They
it's
are in
not-
great
it's-
shape,
it's
but they're still. I mean, they can have a good time, right? You celebrate, get
pumpkin
the boys
pie or
together.
something like, yeah, fair enough.
Okay, Leafs Habs tomorrow night. Here he is, back on Overdrive. Auston Matthews, how you doing, Austin?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well. Did you get a chance to celebrate any Canadian Thanksgiving this weekend?
Not really, honestly. I kind of went over my head that it was Canadian Thanksgiving, and then didn't really prep. So I'll just wait for the American one in a month or so.
Yeah, it's right around the corner. Well, these guys were talking about during their careers, like being scared of weighing in after Thanksgiving, a Super Bowl party, a rookie party. What's that experience like in the modern game in the NHL, making sure that, the diet's on the up and up?
I don't know. I was listening to you guys just before you brought me on, and I kind of have to agree. Like nobody really. I mean, everybody's in such good shape now, right? And everybody kind of looks after themselves so well. So maybe the occasional day where you prefer not to step on the scale, but I think for the most part, like guys are pretty disciplined and not doing anything egregious to their bodies on days off or on Thanksgiving or whatever it may be.
Austin, you talk about the guys and their conditioning. Do you think that could possibly in the future lend to a shorter training camp? Like, do you guys really think you need 3.5 weeks? Or how long is it, Hayes? Is it 4
Yeah, about
weeks?
that. Yeah.
Like, don't you think you show up to camp, you skate for 5 days, you play 3 games, and then bingo, you should be ready to go? Or what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah. I mean, now it's just like, everybody comes into camp in such good shape. And I mean, I've heard it from guys I've played with, from guys that, played, before this era and eras past. And like everybody would kind of just allude to coming into training camp, like you're kind of coming in out of shape and you're using that, 3 weeks, 8 preseason games to kind of get yourself back into it. But I mean, now guys are just in such good shape and they're training constantly and don't really let themselves get out of shape and in the off season to begin with. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing it maybe shorten up a little bit because it is long and, come week 2, 3, like you're pretty anxious just to kind of get the thing going again because, long practices, long days and you're just kind of ready to go. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. Maybe it'll change someday.
Yeah, absolutely. With Auston Matthews, this was your 8th training camp up here in Toronto. I'm sure your rookie one is still somewhat vivid, and that was a pretty wild experience. But once you get to year 2, 3, all the way up to 8, like how much different is the feeling of each camp? And does anything even stick out, or does it just kind of all bleed into each other? And as long as you're happy and healthy, it's all good.
Yeah, I just think you gain the experience from previous camps, from previous seasons, and I just think as time goes on, you kind of just learn your body, you learn yourself more, and you kind of take what you need, what you don't need, and you're just kind of able to understand that a lot better. But it kind of bleeds in a little bit, just because it's a lot of kind of the same repetition and just how the schedule works and everything. So you kind of just get used to it, but it's definitely not something like I take for granted. I think it's always fun to get to camp and see the guys again after summer, and just get together and spend time and obviously put the work in on the ice and preparing for the season. But I think also off the ice too, and getting to know the new guys and just kind of becoming a team slowly.
How about the new guys? Do you think you're veteran enough to take on a young guy and say, hey, you want to come and live at my house, or would that never happen? I think so. I told Nivey if he ever needs a break from JT, he's always welcome to come. Yeah, but you got to cook and everything. You got to do everything for these guys.
No.
Well, you had who? Justin Williams live with you, or you had some kids live with you? Didn't
I
you?
had a bunch of guys living with me because every time I was the only single guy that had a house. So if someone got traded to Carolina, I would say, forget about the hotel. I mean, I didn't cook squat for anybody, but I hardly saw people. There was guys that stayed there I never saw, but I was not cooking for anybody. A free rent was enough, I thought.
Yeah, that seems reasonable, doesn't it, Austin? If you're going to let people move in, you probably don't have to bring much more to the table than that.
No, maybe just clean up after yourself, do the dishes, and call it a day.
Yeah, I love my teammates, but I wouldn't let anybody move in with my house. Mm-hmm. I can't have that. I like my own space.
You got your own living style, exactly.
Austin, I wanted to ask you about your new teammates. A lot is being made of Tyler Bertuzzi and the way that we'll just call him the look. He's missing the jib. He's got the tongue hanging out of his skates. He's got the no stick or the no tape at the end of his stick. Do you look at him and go, how's this guy? How am I going to play with this guy? Or once you get to know him, you realize he's just a unique individual.
Yeah, once you get to know him, you realize that's just him, and he's not. It's not like a show, or it's not anything. That's just who he is. And at first, I don't know. When I was looking at his setup, I just couldn't understand how he could function out there in any sort of capacity. But it works for him, and he's been a lot of fun to be around and get to know, and obviously play with. He's an incredible player, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think I could ever. If I had to use his gear for a practice or a game, I don't think I could function out there.
Austin, season starts tomorrow, how do you set yourself up for the season? Do you kind of just let it fly and see what happens? Do you make individual goals for yourself individually and as a team, or you just go out there and play?
I think, always going in the season, I always have things that I'd like to, focus on, different goals, mindsets. But, I guess we all know the goal that we're after as a team, and that goal never changes, and that's always at the front of the line. And I just try to take it day by day. And as the season gets going, obviously it's very exciting to open up tomorrow, and pretty soon here we're going to be a couple months into the season, and we're going to be playing every other night, and just preparing ourselves for the grind that is the regular season, and just trying to take it day by day, and just staying present and focused on what we have right in front of us, not getting too far ahead of ourselves. But this is obviously always an exciting time of the year, and I'm really excited. I know the team's really excited. It's been, like we talked about, a long training camp, and it's fun that now we're just getting to the real stuff.
So Austin, Sheldon talked about using you on the penalty kill. Is that something that you embraced? Is that you wanted to, or maybe add to your repertoire as a complete player? How did that either conversation go down, or is it something that you are relishing that challenge?
Yeah, it's something like we've talked about a little bit the last couple of years. But obviously lost some guys that were pretty key parts of the penalty kill. And so just speaking with like Sheldon and the coaching staff, like this preseason, even before camp started, I had an idea that that's something they wanted me to do. And I'm really excited about it. I think it's been it'll be a good challenge for me to, step into that kind of role. And unfortunately, we've got a lot of really good penalty killers on this team. A lot of guys that have been doing this for a little bit. Been leaning on Mitchie a lot, talking with him and Dean, our PK coach, and just trying to dial all that stuff in. But I'm excited. It was fun. Just kind of dipping my toes into the preseason, and I just want to continue to, kind of hone in on that, continue to get the details down and all the fun stuff that goes into that. But no, I definitely view it as, a really good challenge for myself and something that I want to embrace and do consistently for the team on a regular basis.
Chatting with Auston Matthews. Leafs open their season tomorrow night. Montreal in town. You mentioned that before you know it, you wake up, you're a month into the season, and about this time a month from now, you guys will be flying to Sweden. You and Detroit, Minnesota, Ottawa are playing games in Stockholm. And I'm actually on NHL.com. They got Willie's face up there, like Nylander's front and center for this. And you guys obviously you've played with a number of Swedes throughout your career. Putting the cart a little bit before the horse because you guys are opening tomorrow night. But how much excitement can come with something like that and maybe changing the pace of a season, like flying to Sweden, the All-Star games in Toronto, different things that make it feel a little bit different than maybe years past?
Yeah, it'll be cool. We've never done a trip like this, so I know all the Swedes on our team are extremely excited to go back home. So we're expecting, them to set up the red carpet for us there when we get in town and have everything dialed in. But no, it's exciting, and like you said, with the All-Star game in Toronto and stuff like that. There's obviously a lot of really cool opportunities and really cool things that we can look forward to. But at the same time, we got our work cut out for us and just try to take it day at a time. And when that time comes, go and enjoy that and relish in that opportunity.
How is the transition for Brad Treliving and Shane Doan coming in? Obviously, I think you've had a long relationship with Shane Doan, but with Brad Treliving, how has that gone initially?
Yeah, it's been really good. Brad's, he's a very personable guy. He's a great communicator. It's been really, easy to get to know him, and he's very transparent, and he's a guy that, he's down there with you, and you know what he expects from the team, and he obviously makes that clear. But it's been great. And I think he stepped in, obviously not an easy position to step into, but I think he's made the most of it. And with him and Donor and some other people that we've added along, and I think they've been a great addition to our staff and to our team. And I'm looking forward to working more with Brad, getting to know him more, and as the season goes along, as his journey goes along. So I think he's handled everything really well, and it's been fun.
He was pretty open and honest from day one about how he wanted to sign you. He's been open and honest about wanting to sign Willie. I'm sure, above him, the same would apply. Brendan Shanahan has always been pretty open and honest about how much belief he has in you guys. How much of a benefit can that be in terms of preparation for a new season, confidence in the group, that you guys, like the core players, have been here a long time between yourself, Marner, Nylander, Tavares is going into year 6. Riley's been here even longer than that. Like, there's a lot of commitment to you guys. How do the veterans kind of respond to that level of, commitment and confidence in what you guys can do?
Yeah, I think it gives obviously us confidence, and it's nice to have their support and their belief in us, and obviously it's our job to reciprocate that, to them. So. It's like I've said before, it's been a huge honor to be a Maple Leaf. I love playing here. I love playing in the city, and we have the best fans and the best fan base in the world. So it's definitely something that I wake up every day and I feel very grateful for. So like I said, it's nice to have that that trust and that belief from management, from the staff, and the ownership, and all that stuff. And it's on us to obviously reciprocate that.
So, you've been here a long time. You guys have been in the playoffs every year since you've been here. Last year, you won a round, you beat Tampa, and then you lose in 5 to Florida. So, how do you balance, the success of getting through the first round with, I'm sure, the disappointment of losing in the second round?
I mean, yeah, like it's a clean slate now. Like there's nothing that we can really change. Obviously it's nice to have that experience. It's nice to, have gone through that, win a round. It was, definitely a bit of a hurdle for us, in the previous years that, we hadn't been able to win a round. So, you gain that experience. You realize how hard it is to win and put together, games and rounds and win against teams that play tough. And, it's obviously a different ball game come that time of year. So, it definitely gives you some fuel to the fire and kind of realize what those next steps are. But, at the same time, I think there's 31 teams that go home pretty disappointed after the season, regardless of, how you finish. And everybody's trying to get to the top of the mountain, and it's obviously not an easy feat. So, it's just something for us to keep in the back of our minds, that experience that we've been through, but continue to stay present, continue to put the work in and set our standards as a team as we go through this regular season. And, at the back of our minds, obviously being, April and that stuff as well. But we can only control so much at this point in time.
I got to ask you before we get you out of here, I've seen some clips of you guys at the grocery store. Did you think that disguise you had on, like, I think people knew that you were Auston Matthews, don't you? Or I think you needed a mustache or something.
Yeah, I didn't know. They said something about like disguises, and we got there, and they thought the hat and glasses was going to be, that would suffice.
Like, did that lady you were doing the push-ups for? Did she not know that you were you?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. We got to get I wish they could do like a blooper reel or something like that. 'Cause I feel like there's some stuff that maybe they couldn't put in the video that was pretty funny, and but yeah, I don't know. It was funny, and not really offside, but definitely there's definitely some funny moments from the day, and I think the video and everything turned out really well on a really good day. Kind of surprising some people, taking care of some people's groceries on a nice Sunday morning. But yeah, we were in tears at some points in time during that because there was just a lot going on, and some people had no clue. So that was kind of the best. When you found somebody that didn't really know what was going on, that kind of made for the best content for sure.
Yeah, I got to imagine, that's a Sobey's commercial that you guys were doing. We're watching it up on TSN4 right now. Like, you guys, we saw a video or some stuff posted online. You guys were at the Drake show over the weekend. Like, there probably isn't many places you can go in the city where you're not aware, someone's going to know it's me, right? Like if you go to a Drake show, there's got to be a million people calling out to you guys. Like, what's it like being Auston Matthews, being a Maple Leaf, going to a show like that and being out in public when obviously, basically everyone in the city knows who you are?
I mean, honestly, it was fine. They take great care of us. We were in there, we were in and out pretty smooth. I mean, obviously, like you said, people are going to recognize us at times and stuff. But I don't know. You kind of just get used to it. People are pretty respectful, and I don't find it to be too overbearing or too overwhelming. You just kind of comes with the territory, I suppose, just because of where we play and the market and the city, and just how passionate they are about the team and about hockey. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, people are pretty respectful, and they take good care of us. And so we were set up pretty nicely there. Had a box, and good group of guys that came and watched, and you put on a good show for us. So it was a lot of fun. It was a good night.
Well, get started tomorrow night. Leafs Habs down at Scotiabank. So good luck tomorrow night. Good luck with the whole season. We appreciate you finding time for us, and hopefully we get to do it down the road. Thank you, Auston.
All right, guys. Sounds good. Take care. Thank you.
You got it. Auston Matthews. Yeah. That's Sobey's thing, man. They're getting their bang for their buck, dude.
Yeah,
that is going viral.
That was funny.
Yeah.
I loved it because it shows a little bit of personality, that type of stuff. And the Drake show, I mean, Ty's in the middle. Ty got brought out.
Ty came out with Drake. I guess Drake's been doing that with every show, like walking down the aisle, which has got to be a security disaster.
Yeah.
Like a nightmare for like the bodyguards and stuff, because people, you never know what you're going to get.
Right.
It's kind of cool of him to do that. It's almost like he's walking out to the ring.
Right.
But, there it is up on TSN4. And, Ty was there. There was a bunch of, obviously, the Leafs, like, I'm assuming, he didn't say it, I'm assuming they're driving right underneath, right up VIP.
When he says it was pretty smooth, that means backdoor limo dropped off with the shortest length to backstage, and that's what smooth transition means.
But that's good. You know what? They can go out and enjoy themselves, and it looked like they had a good crew there. Looked like it was a good concert.
Yeah.
Saw Giordano there, the
Dean
40-year-old.
Bonnie, Gio's in there. Gio's the only guy probably older than Drake. Guess him and Ty.
Well, Ty, yeah.
But
Gio's head is the same size as Ty's.
yeah.
I didn't, but it might be just because he's a little closer to the
I think it might be that he's closer.
Because Ty's got a bucket.
Ty's got a head. He's right in the middle of it there. But it's by all accounts, Drake put on a good show.
Yeah.
Wrapped up his tour, and I guess he's gonna hit the brakes here for like a year and a half. He said he's not doing anything.
Well, he's run pretty hard. Like
he's making a fortune. He just put a new album out. All it is number one on everything.
But
every streaming.
Those guys are constantly like putting material out because you can put one song on, it hits number one, and you can tour on that. So
By the way, I can only imagine what that guy's cooling the Jets means. That's probably absolutely putting the pedal to the floor for months.
But he's in like Ibiza and stuff. Like I don't.
Yeah, exactly. I think musically he's taking some time off.
Yeah. No,
I don't think socially and physically Drake is going to shut the mill down in a hyperbaric chamber and come out of it like a grizzly bear in 6 months.
Yeah.
I don't think he's hibernating. I'm sure he'll find a good time. But anyway, thanks again to Auston Matthews. We're seeing this come in now officially. I think we knew this. Noah Gregor has signed a 1-year deal.
Easton Cowan.
Easton Cowan sent back, but Fraser Mitten, he sticks around. I heard Brad Trey living on with the First Up guys today, and I thought Brad, we'll come back and get into it, but his messaging I think is important. He's like, it's one day at a time.
Yeah.
You're not guaranteed anything.
Excited,
you're 19 years old. It's incredibly exciting. He's not trying to douse fire on how cool that can be, but he's a young kid. He's 19, and the expectation was that he would have been back in the WHL like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
5-game segments, man.
Yeah.
Good 5 games could do him wonders.
Exactly. Battle for the next day. Like that appears to be the message. Just have a good day, then you'll wake up tomorrow, you'll still be up with the Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
But that's a really, really cool story. So we'll come back and talk about that. We got Chris Johnston will join us, CJ, just after 5 o'clock. It's a Tuesday, confirm or deny, still to come. And the NHL's back as of tonight. There's a lot of NFL news and notes to get into as well.
We did
the
it
Raptors
for Hack.
played.
That was my favorite tweet I've ever sent.
You did it for Hack.
I had just the joy sending out that tweet. We did it for Hack. Then my parts, he retweeted it. I loved it.
Yeah,
I need to hear the analytics of how
we'll get into the whole thing about what went on over the weekend. Hayes and company seeing the board pretty well. Timo and Wilson still doing pretty well themselves. We're actually cooking. Like combined, the record is actually very impressive.
I'll tell you what.
Very impressive.
The Jets pick.
That's a ballsy pick.
Dude, the Jags is ballsier. I'm sorry. After the Bills dismantle the Dolphins and they go, I don't care if they flew across the world. Bills over Jags is a blowout anywhere on earth, and my partsy called that one. Yeah. That was the call of the year thus far.
Yeah, right behind me taking Pittsburgh over Baltimore. Ooh. Right behind it. It's a great pick. Almost as impressive as me taking the points. But Kenny Pickett, my guy.
Oh, yeah.
He's like mini
cabbage
me.
Fingers.
I love him.
Cabbage fingers.
I love that guy, man. He throws a waffle ball right over the middle, but it's all good. It's all good. All right, Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. Overdrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. CJ will join us in about a half an hour. Get into the Winnipeg signings from yesterday with CJ.
Yeah.
Was caught, I think, everybody off guard. No one saw that coming.
I don't think nobody
saw that coming.
Us were like, it's just like it was almost like a news dump on Thanksgiving. It's like, oh, by the way, we just signed the two biggest question marks of where the organization's going, all of that.
Smart on the players, Noodles. When you're that age and you get that bag of money thrown at you, you're a dummy not to take it. Because one off year, the whole league could decide that you're maybe worth $4 million moving forward, and they will do that collectively. And there's a chance somebody could jump up and say, we still want to pay you. But you have that one danger year at 30, teams will be like, screw this, man. We're not paying this guy.
Well,
so you got to take it.
They're really good contracts, I think, for both sides. Yes, and by the end, yes, you're going to be 38 years old. Anybody signed to 38 on term, like it's never going to age well. But $8.5 million, like Scheifele scored 42 goals last year. I think that contract hurts William Nylander.
Yeah, I think it possibly can, for sure. I think the age is what is important here. Like I think where the team threw in the Winnipeg discount was on term. Like to O's point, I think, let's say Scheifele scores 40, has 70 points this year, and is going to hit free agency and hit the open market. Does he get? He probably gets 7 somewhere. Like he probably does. But like 31 to 38 that's going to fall off at some point. And the same thing likely with Hellebuyck. But I think the money is very appropriate. Like 8.5 is by no means an overpayment, I don't think, for either guy. No. I think the fear is, and why, and the point O makes, I think, is very sound, is the agents probably were like, I don't know if you're getting 7 on the free agent market.
Right.
Like I don't, especially like goaltenders, they generally don't. Like Hellebuyck, are you going to get 7?
Available by anyone else.
Yes.
Keep in mind,
take it and run with it.
Marc-Andre Fleury and Pekka Rinne both won Vezinas at 35 years old. Like Hellebuyck still has lots left in the tank at 30 years old. And 8.5, like Scheifele scored 42 last year. If he scored 40 again this year, like it's something with an 8 in it easily.
Yeah.
Like maybe more based on the cap going. What did Timo Meier get? 8.75?
Something like that on an
Stars would have to
deal,
align, Noodles. He'd have to rip home 40, and there would have to be an organization. You look at the Boston Bruins or something. Maybe they're just they need that right-handed veteran back in the lineup, and they're like, "We'll pay you, screw it." But who knows if it's going to be 7 years?
I think for morale though of the market, this is what really matters.
Everyone wins.
That's where you get the winners. If you're a fan in Winnipeg, like the players signed, obviously the team's happy. Both sides, they're happy right now. At some point, who knows what's going to happen? But that applies to every contract. But I think with that market, there's always fear, and really this applies to a lot of Canadian markets, that guys are going to want out, guys are going to leave. Hellebuck's an American. And I think from that standpoint, basically on the eve of the season starting, you sign Scheifele, you sign Hellebuyck. You're not going to have to deal with a Pierre-Luc Dubois situation, a Jacob Trouba situation. Well, you got these guys. And
I think you're right. There's no negative to this. These guys, now if Scheifele stays his whole career there, like he's committed to that, and same thing with Hellebuyck, like these guys obviously like the market. I think that's a discount based on both. Like Connor Hellebuyck at $8.5 million, like there would be teams. I can think of 5 or 6 teams that should have paid that if he became an unrestricted free agent. They won't, but ultimately, and Scheifele's a number 1 centerman. What do they go for? We're seeing contracts that are going to be north into double digits as the cap goes up. I think it's a fantastic deal for both sides. Yeah, will they age well
it's
or whatever?
It's the age. That's the only thing is the fact that they'll be 31 when it kicks in. Yeah. But as of right now, they're worth every penny.
Yeah.
And it's the number 1 center, number 1 goalie, the faces of the organization, and you lock them in. Connor's locked in. Ehlers locked in. You've got Morrissey locked in. Like you've got the makings of a team that is going to be competitive.
Your spine is locked in.
Yeah.
And then you've got young kids that are coming up. The Perfetti kid. Like, if you look at it, and keep in mind, Winnipeg is a lot like Edmonton, a lot like Buffalo, a lot like, maybe Ottawa can be thrown into
That's
there.
what I'm saying.
They're not like, it's almost you got to pay, I call it the cold weather tax. So add $1 million onto that in certain situations based on that marketplace.
Yeah.
Like I was like really pleasantly surprised for both sides. Like going, hey, there's no downside to this right now. We'll see what the downside looks.
Yeah, and it keeps them competitive, which I think was a part of this. I think it's been well documented. ticket sales are starting to fall off a little bit in Winnipeg. There's some
That's why
there's
it
some
had
concerns.
to happen, Hazy.
Right.
Yeah, well, and that's another thing that comes with smaller markets, though, right? Is I don't see them as a cup contending team personally. I think they very well could be a playoff team. Once you get in, anything can happen. Hellebuyck is more than capable of doing what, let's say, Bobrovsky did last year. He's one of the 3 or 4 best goalies in the world. I don't see them, though, as like an upper echelon, top 3 or 4 team in the league. But this keeps them in that contention for the playoffs. Maybe you win multiple rounds. Where if you went the opposite way, then
rebuild.
It's a complete rebuild. Like if Hellebuyck and Scheifele are going to walk, I think you got to flip them. If you don't flip them and they walk for nothing, you have taken a massive step back, and then you got to completely flip your sales pitch on who you are, what you are, and what you're trying to bring into that building. And ticket sales would have dropped off even more.
But it's also, too, you're also telling Connor, Ehlers, Morrissey, like,
in it to win it.
you're in it.
And we're
Like,
gonna keep
instead of,
trying
if
here.
you move those guys, you're like, okay, well, what are we doing? We're going to close the lights out here?
That's right.
Like, that's,
For morale, it's a
positive,
huge boost.
positive
It's a
move on-
huge morale boost for the
I agree.
team and for the market. And from that standpoint, I'm happy for them. And obviously, Scheifele and Hellebuyck, they're ecstatic. They just made a lot of money.
Agreed.
Right? And they're locked in, and that's all they've ever known is that market. And that certainly goes a long way. So I think all 7 Canadian teams are playing tomorrow night. You got a 3-pack of games tonight. It's rare when the Cup champs are like unveiling the banner and they're going to have the rings and all that, and it's completely secondary to a different game. And I think we all know which one we're talking about here. It's Bedard in his debut. Yeah. I think it's the perfect debut in Pittsburgh against Sid.
Yeah.
Because there's like when McDavid came in, Sid was still in his prime.
Right.
Sid is not a young guy anymore.
35.
No. Like Sid is this is a big gap. Sid was being drafted when this guy was being born. Like, this is a really big difference between the two. And I think it's a perfect crossover. And Bedard, he starts in the East. He starts in Pittsburgh tonight, Boston tomorrow, Montreal Saturday, Toronto Monday.
Yeah.
That is
like
quite. Do you see how much media was around that kid this morning?
Yes.
Just wait till he gets here or Montreal or I don't know.
Well, it's an ESPN game tonight, right? Like, Ray's there calling it, and it's a big platform game.
Yeah. I'm excited. And you know what? I kind of like the 5:30 game, too. Why not? It's not isn't it kind of things are different now? Just fire up the game at 5:30, or is it just don't like that?
Down in Tampa, man, I don't know what kind of crowd they're going to get.
Bad. It's not
I don't know.
It's not a sports.
I wouldn't be shocked if it was, 12,000 people.
I'll bet you $30,000 it's a sellout.
Yeah, no Vasi and net tonight. I'll bet you they just sell this team right down the river.
You think so?
No Vasilevskiy. Because I do find that people's opinion on what's going to happen with Tampa this year, very polarizing. Like, very polarizing.
As far as some people think they're going to be a cup contender and others are like, I don't know if they're making the playoffs.
Exactly. Like, I think possibly the widest range of opinions, maybe of any team in the league.
I have never heard of one person say they don't think Tampa's making the playoffs.
I have seen it online, I'm talking about. I can't necessarily
so what?
say.
Like goons in their parents' basement writing blogs.
Well, listen, they did not have a great second half. They lost in the first round, although they played well against the Leafs. And now Vasilevsky's out for a long time.
Yeah.
And the division's good, right? If you think Ottawa's taking a step, if you think Buffalo's taking a step, someone's got to take a step back.
Yeah. You could also look at it. They finally had a summer to kind of rest their bodies and get prepared for the season. The goaltender obviously is a huge factor, but I'll tell you what, they know how to play, man. They know how to win.
Yeah, that's
no chance.
I'm just not doubting.
Do you think it's a 0% chance they miss the playoffs? 0%. Noodles?
Maybe Jerry will have something to say relatively soon.
I have a tough time betting against 4 Hall of Famers, and that's Hedman, Stamkos, Point, and Kucherov.
And Vasilevsky, for that matter. That's a fifth when
I'm
he's
talking
healthy.
2 months from now, you throw in a 5th Hall of Famer.
Like Point's a lock Hall of Famer?
Damn good player.
He is to me, man.
Okay. Damn good player. We'll see. I mean, when it's all said and done.
What else?
I get labeled a hater. It's like, why not throw Sergachev in there, too? Who else? Brendan Hagel.
Well, hold on
They're all Hall of Famers.
Braden Point would have been on the Olympics.
Point is a great player. I love Braden Point. He had 50 goals last year. He's a great player. I don't think he's a lock Hall of Famer yet.
Right.
That's he's a great player. I love Point. Kucherov is, Stamkos is, Hedman is, Vasilevsky. Cooper is, I think.
Yeah.
Probably. Hall of Fame coach.
I point for me, but
absolutely.
you're like if point continues on. Like,
Yes.
you just
if you
need
extrapolate
more,
over the line, yes, I'll grant you.
But I would
You're right.
say
He's on pace.
I could see.
I'm being a stickler.
Yeah, you are being a stickler for, but he would have been if there was best on best, he's on that.
100%.
So he could have had a gold medal underneath his belt
Yep.
right now because
sure.
of it.
For
now,
sure.
Did he win a cup or was he? He was in the he was,
Point?
Yeah, he won a cup.
He won both.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's
Oh, he was a
cups
superstar on both. I think he might have a No, it was Vasilevskiy and Kucherov.
Yeah.
He was like real close on a
Dude, he
constant
was
both
so
times.
sick in both cups.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
he was.
I'm more bullish on him.
Oh, listen, I'm bullish too. I'm just saying he's still young. Is my point. Like
Yeah.
Kucherov's got the heart. Stamkos has got a rocket.
You and Mike Johnson should just do a negative segment where you can go one after the other and you say, you might think this guy's a good player. I'm going to tell you why he's not.
It's not.
You might think, you guys would have a great time doing it, too.
It's not about not a great player. It's about
Yesterday, Johnny was like, I'm going to tell you why McDavid's not getting 170.
He's
blah,
not.
Blah, blah, blah,
He's
blah,
not.
blah, 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 blah. I
Dude.
called it the nerdy negative. It's this. You and Johnny should do a segment. Just we're negative. We hate it.
No, it's called realistic expectations with Mike
You
Johnson.
think this
and
guy's
Bryan
good?
Hayes.
We'll tell you why.
Yeah, but it's not disputing if a guy's going to get 170 points is not
I know,
suggesting
but
he's
you
not a
guys
great
just
player.
had like your first reaction to everything is like, here's what this segment can be called. Nah, it's not going to happen. There's your segment.
Fine, put that on a loop, JP. There's a little homework for you.
Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah.
I'll give you 5 things right now that I don't think are going to happen.
Okay,
Oh, go
give me
ahead.
5.
Let's
Give me
take a break and come back.
Okay,
and just,
I'll come back
yeah.
and I'll rate on your parade. Because, again, it's not about hating. This is what happens every year. Every team's making the playoffs. Everyone's having a career year. Everyone's the best.
Yeah.
And then we get to the end of the season. We say, wow, I didn't see that one coming.
Let's just take a break and come back with it. Ain't happening.
All right,
It
5
ain't
things
happening.
that ain't happening. All right, coming up. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. All right, I got a 4-pack here. I'm still working out the kinks on my 5th.
We can
Great
debate
news
it.
segment called "It Ain't Happening" in
It ain't happening.
2023-24. Go ahead, number
Yeah.
1 on your list. What are you going to go 4-1 or 1-4? What's
Well-
the King Daddy topper? Let's save that for last.
Okay. Yeah, again, I only have 4. I'm still working out like my material on my 5th one. Eric sent in a tweet saying, you know what would be a good one for this nerdy negative talk? Haze on my parade. Instead of raining on a parade,
Oh, I like
haze on a parade. All right, this is one I've stated before. I honestly think this is a lukewarm take. I don't think this is at all spicy.
All right.
Mild at most. McDavid does not hit 150 points this season. Not going to happen.
Dumb talking.
Not going to
Gets
happen.
3 breakaways a day. Gets 3 breakaways a game. He gets 8 chances a night in the power play.
Mm-hmm.
He skates way faster than everyone else. Why wouldn't he?
Because
he just keeps getting better.
Everything
and
broke
better.
his way last year. Everything. He had 153. But he have 64 goals.
Oh, so
Yeah.
what? Mario and Wayne, everything broke their way? That's
Yes.
a donkey
If
statement.
you have a career season, he went up 30 points on
those
a career
guys,
high.
those guys don't have career years. It's just one big mass of awesomeness.
I'm telling you.
That's where you're dead
right.
wrong.
McDavid less than
This is
150.
insane.
All right. Well, we have to track them. We'll track them this year. That's
less than
fine.
150. Listen, he could finish with 145 points, and we're both right.
Yeah.
Under 150, and he's still
Amazing.
unbelievable.
Yes.
Vancouver misses the playoffs. I don't think that's spicy at all. Again, these are lukewarm tapes that you guys are going to be like, you're being a hater. I don't think Vancouver's good enough. I don't think they're
Turn
deep
your
enough.
phone off, son. Turn your phone off.
Oh, listen.
They're going to come after you.
I think
the
there's a
great people of Vancouver
No.
have the right to be optimistic with Tyler Demko in net. Just kidding, Noodles. It's Thatcher Demko.
Demko. There's
great.
a lot of
Dude,
self-awareness
you
in
know
Vancouver.
what? They got some star players up front. They got to keep the puck out of their net. Who knows what they're going to do, because last year was absolutely insane what they did out there.
Yeah.
They gave up 3 and 4 goal leads like it was their job.
Yes, they blew
I-
a ton of leads last
I
year.
disagree with it.
Well, again, I think the first full year of Rick Tocchet, obviously the emphasis is on them staying healthy, specifically with Demko, but also them improving their defensive play. Likely will improve. They signed a couple of guys, bought out a guy. You know, there was some movement on the
Yeah,
back
they got
end.
some movement.
I just think that division's too deep. I don't think Vancouver's there. You have the Connor Garland situation now where he maybe wants out or they want to move on
Well,
from
they
him.
need his cap relief. Yeah, he makes $5 million. So.
Pedersen's still kind of working out a contract, but we don't know exactly where that's going. I just think that division's too good. The West is too good. I don't think they'll be awful. I just don't think they're going to make it. Number 3, again, this is, for me, very moderate levels of spice.
Go ahead.
This is simply for this season, all right?
Yeah.
Not the rest of his career. But I don't believe Andrei Vasilevskiy will be elite this season. I think that injury, that surgery, I think him basically missing all of camp, I think it's very difficult for a veteran goalie with a lot of miles on him to jump
you're
on
just being
bench.
stupid now. You're making stuff up now. Noodles, please talk to this guy.
Well, listen,
Elite. I'm saying elite. Like this guy, I think he's been the best goalie in the world for 5 years, Noodles?
Yeah, he
give or
probably
take?
has been.
I don't think he gets to that point in 23,
do you actually
24.
know? Do you know how old he is? He's not some 34-year-old.
I think he's
29.
late 20s.
29.
29. Do you know how much hockey he's played in the last 4 years? Absurd amounts.
Did you not hear Noodles earlier when he mentioned the other guys winning Vezinas
Yes,
at 35?
again. This is for
just said for this
23,
year.
24.
This
Next
injury.
year it resets.
I just would like to see him get into 45 games type of thing, half a season, to see how it unfolds. But 45 of Vasilevskiy, even 80% of Vasilevskiy is still pretty
Still very good.
Yeah, so
I don't know if it's elite. Elite.
Terrible
Operative
comment.
word is
Terrible
elite.
comment.
Operative word is elite.
I already know the last one. It's
Alex
doesn't-
Ovechkin will not score 40 this season.
This is
Alex Ovechkin.
You know what?
Will
It's the
not
first
score
day of the
40.
regular season. We got 2 former players on the show, and you're doing this stuff. It's crazy.
All right. I'll find my 5th between now and 7 o'clock.
No, there is no
Overdrive
5th.
continues.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a Connor Bedard take. You never know.
Yeah, it is.
That is my guy, right? I had him in my top 50, asterisk. All right, CJ's coming up in the next hour. Confirm it, deny, still to come. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.